Je pense que dans Notorious, je ne suis pas sûr que je le décrirais comme un film d'espionnage qui se transforme en film en suspense psychologique. Ce qui me semble que le suspense psychologique est là dès le début. Il y a quelque chose d'obscène dans Notorious qui est magnifique, c'est cette idée que le héros, moitié par désir, moitié par mépris, moitié par un mélange de désir et de mépris, se dit « je vais prostituer la femme aimée ».
Notorious is a magic trick of epic proportions because you literally can't talk about in that movie what the movie's about. The movie's about a fucking sleazy party girl who they rope into. They go, well, you fucked him before, go fuck him again, and tell us what's happening in the wine cellar. And she goes to her handler and says, they want me to go back and fuck this guy I used to fuck. And he goes, well, you know, you got to do what you got to do. And she goes, okay. And I mean, literally none of that can be spoken. None of it can be, you know, they have to talk around the subject of everything. You know, the entire plot has to be veiled. You know, so to me, what makes that movie spectacular is how what Ben Hecht and what Hitchcock were having their hands tied and not being able to. Plus, in fact, you don't want Ingrid Bergman playing that person anyway. You know what I mean? She's too special for that, you know. So they have to so they kind of get off topic and they sort of revolve and spin around what they're trying to say and tell you exactly the story that they set out to tell you.
Cary Grant used to say, I talked to him about Notorious. He says, oh yeah, that's the picture that Hitch threw to Ingrid. He always threw the picture to the woman if he could. And but it's her story, really. And the ambiguity of Cary Grant's character, how he's in love with her, but he's jealous, and he's possessive, and he's angry, and doesn't want to be in love with her because he thinks low of her, thinks of her as a lowly person, but he is in love with her.
Tráilers.
The complexity of Cary Grant's character in that movie is really quite something. And the complexity of the relationship between Bergman, Claude Rains, and Cary Grant is very intriguing, and you really feel sympathy for Claude Rains. Claude Rains is a rather sympathetic actor anyway, but you really feel like, poor guy, I mean, he really loves her.
Every time I see the picture, I kind of, the emotional impact is more with Claude Rains, and his mother, when he goes in the morning and wakes his mother up and says, I think I made a terrible mistake, paraphrasing, of course. And then she just gets up, lights a cigarette, and says, okay, what do you want to do about it? They got to do something. But the depth of that betrayal is one of the most extraordinary things in cinema.
One could say, which I think is wrong, but one could say that Claude Rains is sort of oblivious to too much of what might be going on until way too late in the story, because the fact that she is with him strikes one as already immediately rather unbelievable. I mean, Ingrid Bergman together with Claude Rains is a little implausible, but I don't have that problem, again, because the emotional commitment to the characters is so clear and is so evident that I believe it no matter what. What is amazing is that kind of strange triangle that emerges between Cary Grant, Ingrid Bergman, and Claude Rains. And it's almost like an ensemble, almost. And yet it doesn't feel claustrophobic, it doesn't feel small, it doesn't feel underbaked dramatically. And I think, again, it has to do with the mood and the commitment to those people and the essential beauty and clarity of that triangle.
Everything revolves around that key. What I mean by that is Cary Grant they're in love with each other, with Ingrid Bergman, and yet, you know, Claude Rains is also in love with her. And this whole dance that's going on is all kind of held together by this physical object.
I asked him once about the shot, that high angle shot, and that goes down to the key in her hand. And he said an interesting thing. He said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like, well, it's like a sentence, isn't it? Here in this big crowd of people, they're all unaware of the fact that the whole evening boils down to this little key in somebody's hand. And his way of showing that is to start wide and go down, 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 down. Well, you know, he could have done that a lot of different ways. But that way, it really says that. He could have just had a long shot and then cut to the key. But it's the whole fact that we're going down to, in fact, we kind of know where we're going. But that's what makes it exciting, is the way he did it.